Good morning, everyone. Still a bit semi-dark. Got a flash on, but not getting much. Well, it was 8 o'clock when we woke up, and I fell asleep last night at about 9:30, 9:45. That's the last time I remembered. So, Rogue, leave these ears alone, please. We don't need them cleaning. So yeah, I had a good night's sleep. Hammock camping, wow. I've got this is a, I don't know if you can see it, I'll show you more, I'll show you later to be honest. But anyway, I've got a protector on the quilt on the underneath. Also retains some heat. I've hoisted it up now because so we can move about underneath and the dogs don't brush it and all that. But the underneath quilt is rated to 0 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit, so it's probably -18. So I was testing that for the winter, and boy, that makes a massive difference. You know what I mean? It seems, for me anyway, I don't know much about hammocking, as I say, so no, 0 basically. But normally you would feel the cold from below, you know what I mean? I didn't feel nothing. And I tell you how good it was. I got in the hammock, and within about 5-10 minutes you could feel the heat straight away. I went in with cold feet and I thought, oh no, because I'd been sitting here like this, and the cold at that time was drawn through the floor. But today, this morning, everything froze outside, the water bowls were frozen, but in here the ground is warm because of our heat, the heat produced, you know, from ourselves that's been retained inside the tarp, and also the fire when it did get going, which is being stubborn again this morning. So yeah, beautiful hammock. How to explain it? Imagine camping on a mat in a tent, and then imagine hammocking. You can't relate it. There's a massive difference. You feel so much comfortable, cozy. That's a word I'd add to hammocking. Cozy. When you get in there, you're in your own little cocoon, and I think it's nice because I'm away from the dogs. Yeah, when it hangs, I can overlook and see the dogs. So I got my own little world, even though I'm with them, and that's nice. But yeah, really, really cozy. And oh, I wish I'd done it years and years ago. So going on to today. Today is about round camp. I've got to set this out how I want it all, rig it all, make sure everything's done, dialed in. Because yesterday I was working under tiredness, and just, you know what I mean, I was just trying to get the job done. Once I got the job done, then I was happy. But today, yeah, dial everything in and make sure everything's fine. I've hoisted it that high. I don't want it touching the, don't know if you can see, I don't want it touching the netting, others that'll get wet. I just unzipped the netting when I was in it and just let it fall around me. I was wondering if I needed a top cover. You can get a top cover, pretty pricey, but you can get a top cover for them. And I thought, no, I won't. I'll see how it was. When I went in the hammock, my face was freezing. You could feel the cold outside. But with the warmth of the hammock and all that, it seemed to warm me up, and then my face warmed up, so I had no problem. I did have my snud. I go to bed with like a blue Arc'teryx base layer that's more or less like a snud, and I pulled the hood over me, and I was fine. So it was just the face, but look at this fire. It's just so stubborn, but you just got to leave it and hope and pray. Lots of praying this morning with that fire. I prepped it last night. I got all the wood I wanted in there without choking it, and thought, you know, if there's any heat inside that fire, it'll dry it out. And then when it went totally out, I put more dried twigs, and I thought, hopefully that'll get me started in the morning. So today it's about round camp, cutting lots of firewood. I found my water bags that are in with food. I think I forgot my breakfast. Oh, it's been one of them camps. I normally have some cereal bars, but I can't find them. So I don't know if I've left them. I don't think so. I'm sure I've got them somewhere. But I came out with so much gear, you know, all pre-packed in 2 big waterproof bags. And I thought, brilliant, I've got it all in order. But then obviously moving camp, I changed things around and messed things about. And now I don't know which is in which bag and which is in another. But yeah, yesterday was chaos. Yesterday was one of them days, then if you weren't used to being outdoors, you would have kind of given up probably trying to get here because of the conditions, you know, and going through the swamp and bog and, oh, it was just waterlogged ground. But anyway, you've probably given up doing that. And then when the wind started blowing your tarp and, but a lesson learnt. See, I learned a lesson. You know, I mean, it seems quite sensible, doesn't it? A tarp is a sail in the wind. But I've done ground tarping, and that's different because you peg everything down, you've got poles, and even if it's blowing, you've got some kind of structure. But once you put a ridge line across 2 trees and then start hanging your tarp, it becomes a sail. So I suppose it's common sense that when you're tarp camping, hammock camping, using a tarp, then you get out of the wind. None of these nice beautiful sights, you know, by a river or something like this. Tuck in, get out of the wind. Unless, of course, you know the day is going to be dead all day. Look at that fire. Is it going to go? Oh, it's burning at the back now, which is a good sign. I can move that. I just want a cup of coffee. Oh, that's a good sign, isn't it? What else to tell you? Drive up was good yesterday. I just took it nice and slow. As I say, it seemed really weird. I have not done it for a few months. Dogs are fine. Stella's a bit stiff this morning, but that's only because we did eventually going through that waterlogged ground and all that and doing the kind of relay service. We did 6 miles, which she normally does 4. So that was a couple of extra miles on her. And it was over really rough ground. The plan was to kind of get to the river, see how low it is. I was going to get the gear across and leave the gear across the other side because I didn't want to get dogs wet. And then we were going to walk round and go over the bridge and get to this plantation and pick up the gear from that side. That was the plan. But of course, the dogs got so wet going through that waterlogged ground, which I'll tell you how bad it was. I stepped in a puddle at one point thinking, oh, it's only about, you know, ankle deep or something like that. And I nearly lost my boot. So I was scared I was going to get wet legs. But thankfully I got out in time. But and then, yeah, add in the cows. They came up to us. They were at a river crossing, of course, weren't they? They couldn't be over in the field somewhere. And I approached them with the dogs, and I thought, and the young, like, bullocks or something like that. I don't know much about cows, but they were young anyway. No older dogs, older cows. And they got inquisitive like they do. And I thought, are they going to kind of get over inquisitive and be a pain here? Or are they going to... So they got edged nearer and nearer, and then the dogs kind of put their noses out, I think rogue barked or something, and then they all ran off, the cows that is, like, I don't know, like we'd done something, like we shot them. And then they stopped, and then they waited for us, and then they edged back closer to us, really with strange cows. And they were watching us all the way, and there was a runner, we came across a fell runner as such. I said to him, be careful, the cows are okay, but they were a bit frisky at the moment. They didn't bother him, but they watched him. So yeah, that was a surprise, finding cows here after all the years I've been here. But as I say, Steve, the cattleman, is no longer here, so maybe the new cattleman's got a different kind of idea about doing things and puts the cows different areas. So that's something to remember now. But as I say, this will probably be the last time I'm here. and to maybe one week in the summer when it's nice and warm. And it counts. It depends on Stella. I wanted to do the high areas with my friend, as I say, Derek, but I don't think that's ever going to happen now, is it? Sadly. But, yeah, one of them things, isn't it? But as I say, yeah, probably won't be back this summer. I don't know. I mean, let's be honest, I've spent nearly 2 years searching here and put a hell of a lot of effort in. I don't know how many days it's added up to over that. I mean, it's been like, I don't know, 20 visits and a week, sometimes a week at a time, 6 days at a time. So it's a lot of days I put in here, and I've searched everywhere. And sometimes I've been up here and been in the hut, and I just ain't videoed for YouTube. I just wanted to take it easy and kind of do what I wanted to do. So, you know, you've not seen all the days I've been up here. And yeah, what do I think? I have my own ideas, as I say, but I'm not going to go into them. I think I've made them clear. One last thing before I do go. When I was doing the search with all the rescue teams and all that last time, looking for Paul Conway, and you know, he was missing anywhere from Glenfinnan to Inverary, and eventually he was found Loch Dochard, not far from Glenpeen where we were. I came across the police rescue team, and luckily I met a guy that does searches around this area looking for Neil, and he's been back about 11-12 times, he said. Again, it doesn't get highlighted, but it just shows how many people are out there still searching. And we exchanged views, you know what I mean? And as I say, I won't go into what he said, because even though he didn't say, you know, this is like private or anything, I think it's only fair to respect that he is a police officer, and what he was telling me was probably confidential. But anyway, he had his views, and based on his views, I said, like, no, I don't think so. And I told him a few factors about the loch, how the river, the loch kind of pools in one area where anything dead, including deer or anything like that, would end up. And I told him that on the last day, because I didn't know it was the last day when we were looking for Paul Conway, because he was found. And I was told by someone the very next day, someone was up here at Loch Dochard, and there was a mountain rescue team and a police rescue team, Lamb Rose, sat not far from the location what I was talking about, and apparently they were searching that area. So was it a coincidence? Probably, but maybe not, from what I told them, you know what I mean? So they were checking some area out. It seems weird that the very second, the day after I told the police officer they were up here. But so you just don't know. Maybe the police are watching my videos, you just don't know. If so, I bet they're bored by now. But yeah, I've put in nearly 2 years. I think if I've been approximately, it's about 18 months. And as I say, I've done others in between there where I've just come out and just want to rest with the dogs, and maybe Stella's been bad and I ain't felt, you know, like pushing her, and it weren't enough to video and all that. So I have put it in. As I promised the family I would search, I kept to my word. I've given it my best shot. And going back, I know this is going to be another long video, isn't it? Do we honestly believe a man, frail as he was, with some health conditions, that, if we believe the facts, couldn't walk 4 miles to Loch Dochard without struggling, could actually get up on that high ground that I was struggling when I was trudging through there in the glorious summer? And even though I was carrying a heavy pack, I was finding it hard to get out in them areas. So could he do it? Possibly. Would he do it? Surely not. So, and as I say, I haven't searched Glen Kinglass, and I haven't searched Loch Tula area. But once you start going down them areas, if you go down Glen Kinglass, you're starting to go and go and go for miles. And look at that, whilst I'm talking to you, my fire's picking up. Yeah. And we're feeling some heat. So yeah, you gotta say when is enough is enough. You know what I mean? And the family, should I say, certain members of the family have tried to put me off searching, which is very, very strange. And I'll let you make up your mind on what you think about that. And the more or less said it, you know what I mean? Even though publicly they're asking for people to go look, if they're in the area, go looking for him, their father, sorry. So, you know, it's been one of them that there's more to the story than people probably know, including myself. But I must admit, I know a hell of a lot more that I can't tell you about. And that's true, you know what I mean? I'm not kind of playing kind of some game here. I honestly know a hell of a lot more and I can't go into it. So probably because of, you know, legal reasons, you know what I mean? Because I can't say anything without proof, even though I do have some proof. And I don't want to cross any borders with like any police investigation. So I have to be careful what I say. So I'm sticking to the format. Hence, you can see why I'm pulling away a bit, because of what I believe and what I know. And so that's all I can say on that matter. I have made my point clear with the police, you know what I mean? I've spoken to the police officers and one of the guys that was in charge of the police rescue team there, and I've made it clear. So, you know, I'm not going to say any more on that. So yeah, good learning curve. Learned a hell of a lot. Learned where you make mistakes, what not to assume. Go out and search and don't make any assumptions. That's the next thing I would always say to anyone. Don't think what the person could have done. Don't think what might have happened. Don't think of this. It'll send you crazy. You'll come up with so many theories. You'll just go off your head. Just search. Cover areas and search. But as I say, anyone wanting to come up here and do any searching because they want to do it, I've searched all the low ground, all the plantations, say, all around Loch Dochard. I've done zigzags. I've flown drone, as you've seen, and I had other drone footage that I didn't put up because I was practicing as well, and it was all a mess. And I think my coffee's going, and I think my fire's going at last. So I've done what I can. I've given it my best shot, and it was a long best shot, wasn't it, for nearly 2 years. So the next plan is to move. I like to have search areas, and I used to use the training areas. And the reason I call them training areas is I used to use the Peak District as a training area. So I'd go in the Peak District, I'd learn about my gear, I'd learn about topography, you know, and landscape and everything. So how I carry across. It's all military based, but it's very clever because, you know, when I came here and I started searching some of the rugged areas, you realise how bad the ground is when you're covering it and how hard it is. So what I'm doing is I'm moving to the Cairngorms. I'm going to practice and do training there. I have this kind of camp in the Cairngorms in the tree line, and then search around, practice searches this is, and using the dogs. This is another thing, I want to get the dogs working more. They need to be working more, because that 4 months they're going crazy at home. Stella, I don't know how long she'll be with us, but she's still with us. She was 15 on 5th of January, so a month ago, and she's still going. Like my fire. But anyway, that's enough rambling. There's not much you can do in the morning when you're waiting for your fire to go, is there? Now look, happy campers. And you see, I'll stick Rebel near the cold because he likes the cold. But I make sure she's warm, and definitely she's warm. And see how her head's moving nearer to the fire, even though I don't see it. She'll be, look, there's the fire, look ahead. I'll look down in a minute and look, Look, see it? Look. It's inching. She's not stupid. Right, I'm going. I'll catch you later. There she is in all her prime. The penumbra, hot Kent stroke top. Watch the lines, you. Give you a rundown of setup. Rebel, stop being silly. Sorry, he's messing about at the back. Continuous ridge line at the top. That way, you. 3 prusik knots that do slide, which I found. That's a learning curve. Half hitch there on the connector here, which was a Dutch wire wasp, but it's spun around a bit. That's how tight it is, tension on that. And that's due to the top poles going across. Top poles kind of spread out the sides a bit. I did guy out the areas as well, but look, they got a bit slack overnight. I've tied with half hitches again. There's stove jack, but we're not expecting any strong winds. But I'm getting into practice a bit cockeyed. This is things I need to sort out today. Didn't have no branches lower down on the trees, so I couldn't tie it to that. These are good. I didn't have them connect. I just connected them because what I was finding last night is, I don't know what, with the movement of the hammock or something, they were really coming down low, and of course it was like I didn't realise how much wind was coming in. So we want to control that. So the only negative I got on here is, I mean, I've pitched on uneven ground, but see how this is nice, fairly straight, but this one is sliding. So I've got to find some cord and see if I can tension it that way. Pull it more up rather than that sag. It hasn't affected the inside, but it's trying to get things right. I got another piece of stove jack, you know, to kind of close it up, because it was big enough as it was, but even now you can see there's a gap. I want a gap so this pipe can move over like so, but I don't want it so big that if it did rain or we did get snow, it's all going to pour in. I know this will scorch in the end, but because I've stapled it in, I can unstaple it and just get another piece. So I don't care about things scorching. As you see, the logs weren't big enough, but I did put some logs to stop any draft coming out. I'll get bigger ones today and put them there. I'm not trying to seal it airtight, but I just don't want, you know, at night that cold draft coming through in the winter. In the summer you wouldn't mind, but we had frost, as you can see. Hey, watch my lines, you. Not near the tent. And on this end, at a Dutch wire hook, again, it's solid, that is. So just string it up, hook on that side, Dutch wire wasp on that side, get it nice and taut. I had the pre-arranged 3 prusik knots that do slide, but when there's tension they're not. It's not now because of the tension, but I don't know what's going on here. This is something I've done. Don't know if it's the tarp pole bringing it down. They want water. I've got to get them some water. Inside, as you can see, it's a mess now, but look, it's lovely and big, isn't it? I mean, the hammock's been pulled up. That would drop a lot more. Doors zip up both ends, so you could either unzip both areas and let the wind come through. I might do that later just to make sure any condensation. There was a tiny bit of condensation, very slight film, but not like some tops, you know, where you get absolutely drenched in droplets and everything. I didn't get the fire on that well because it wouldn't burn. That's another thing I've got to sort out. My hands are getting cold. And as you can hear, look, Stella's playing with the ice. She wants water. Yeah, we're going to do that now, Stella. So it did get cold last night. As you can hear, there's a good widespread frost last night. Everything's very crispy. Going to get water. Going to sit in the sun for a bit. Because at the moment our tart area is not in the sun and the fire doesn't want to go. I'll be chopping wood in a bit and start prepping. I'm looking for some really nice dry wood somewhere. So main aim is get water, warm up in the sun here, enjoy the views. And start getting things sorted. Not even brush my teeth. Problem is where our camp is, it's quite a way. So we have to do an obstacle course to get to the water. I mean, there's water here, but I'd rather get it from the river where it's running really fast. Stella, you be careful. Woo, my fingers are freezing. I've got gloves, but I know I'm going to get them wet in a minute, so what's the point? Yesterday, first camp was from that tree to that big one leaning over there, next to the one that's been half cut. And the tarp would have been lovely along here on the ground. But the wind started picking up, which I knew it was a southerly, but they said like 5-6 miles an hour. But in reality it was about 15-20. Really got brisk. So I thought, right, I'm high up here, sad, because I wanted them views, you see. You know, you got these kind of ideas how you're going to have your view. And the ground was perfect. And I had dry wood, water, everything nearby. So I'll show you where I went next. Was that tree there to this tree here. Ground good, away from that southerly breeze, and also I knew the weather was going to change during the week and be easterly, so the tarp was going to be heading into the wind. So if it did pick up, which I was worried about because it's quite open here, I'd have it pitched taut hopefully, and it would deflect the wind. Bit marshy up there, but I wasn't worried about that because we're on a rise here. Again, wood's not far away, river's nearby, great views. Again, the wind shifted. I think it switched from a southerly to a southwesterly, which west is about just over that mountain there, Monroe, whatever it's called it. So again, I was in the open, I was getting buffeted, and I thought, nah, this is not going to work. So I thought, right, we'll pull right into the back there. Sorry about the dogs barking, they're having fun. My fingers are freezing. But shame, couldn't get the views. But one good thing is, you know, here we can be seen by everyone, and the dogs will be within range of people if someone comes down that track, which something's been down the track today. You can see the tire marks. Don't know where the cows are. Haven't heard or seen them. I think right at the top end. Oh, you set off the dogs, rebel. Right, we've got to get water. So you can see what happened. Probably very rookie mistake, you know, camp pitching too far out in the open, too, you know, too exposed as such. So I'm more than happy with where we pitched. It's very sheltered. The sun does reach it, you'll see later, and it does get nice and warm when the sun picks up. There's no breeze and the sun's baking on the tarp. At least they're having fun. No one get injured, I don't care. Yeah, it was frosty last night. Didn't look like that yesterday, did it? Well, I don't think I showed you, to be honest. Hey, hey, hey. My hands are frozen. But they're going to get wet in a minute. So I've got to go down these two. Hey! Noise! Come here, I've got to straighten your jacket. What's Rogue sniffing? Stella did get up, but she just stayed looking at the tent. Oh, that's what Rogue could hear. Guess who's come? Look. She will not leave us. Rogue heard her. Sorry if you get wind noise. You know what she's done? She's come her own little route, avoiding all the rivers, avoiding all the obstacles. Probably done a massive long route just to get to us rather than do the shortest route. And her coat's all over the place because she's been lying up. Rogue, leave her! Dogs greet each other by sniffing each other's backside. Lovely, isn't it? What are you doing here? She was stiff yesterday. She's not so stiff today. I'll probably give her a paracetamol later, as well as Rogue, get off. I didn't. If you see, look, fur lined. She's nice and cozy with that on, especially in the sun. She'll feel lovely. That's why I've come out, and now she's here. She can lie in the sun. Lie down, rest. Lie down, rest. You'll be nice in the sun with that heat, with that jacket. Lie down. Good girl. Lie down. Get out of the water, you. I'm just enjoying the views. Yeah. All that snow melting on the tops. There was a lot more snow yesterday on here. It's probably running down the rivers off the mountains, and hence the rivers are a bit higher than they should be. This isn't too bad, but the main one is, because everything runs into the loch and then it runs out the loch down this river to Loch Dochard. No, she doesn't want to sit still. Her jacket's stored all over the place. What she does, she slides down on one side when she's lying down. It sets her jacket off. If she wants to toddle about, that's fine. I've got a lead for them too. If they come, Stella's not going to cause anyone any problems. Why didn't you leave us? You won't leave us, will you? But yeah, nice and warm. Look at that. As long as she don't get it wet, that's why I'm keeping them out of the water. So as I say, while she's with us, it's very limited what we can do as such. But hide your ears, Stella. At being 15, she Rebel, will you get off her? Being 15, hold on, cover your ear. Being 15, she won't be with us much longer probably. And no one can complain, can they, Stella? You've had a really good innings, you have. You've had some adventures. Of these two, do half the adventures you've done. She was with me when we started doing the hikes in the Peak District over Bleaklow and all them remote moorlands. Many a night out there. Them days it used to be like for a weekend, like go on a Friday night and come back on a Monday. Then we started doing, what do we do then? Oh, we were going to the coast, like Norfolk coast, and doing, this is before YouTube days, and we were camping up there discreetly, hidden away like in woodlands and all that, and on the beaches and all that. It was beautiful. That again was when I had a German Shepherd with her, and not noisy so-and-so down there. But they need to do this to burn that energy off because they've been cooped up. Yeah, the breeze is picking up and it's probably about similar to yesterday. I thought it was coming from an east, but so it was the same more or less time that I was trying to set the tarp up. And again, you know, you think, oh, now when it dies, that's when I was starting to set it up. It was when the breeze picked up that caught me. So I'm glad it did in a way, because it taught me a lesson, you know what I mean? And I'm glad it caught me down there. Again, it taught me a lesson. Don't, you know, you think it's a perfect spot. It's probably a perfect spot for summer, you know what I mean? When it's not too midgy and there's not much of a breeze, and you wouldn't have that kind of tent. You have a more open tent, so that if the wind did pick up, it'd go under you and around you. As long as it's not a kite and lifts you up, lifts the tarp up. But yeah, for winter, once it picks up and gets a bit strong with a walled tarp down, you know what I mean? The other tarp I can pitch up like a wing, if you get what I mean. And as long as the wind goes under and it doesn't get under it and rip it up, then I'll be fine. Again, you can tilt one side, protect it from the wind, but the rest will let the wind go around you and pass you. Whereas that's like a box, isn't it? You know, when it's pitched, it's a solid box there, and it hasn't got the strength of a solid box. Rebel, you're not rubbing your back, you're rubbing a coat. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It's about... So, yeah, it's more or less a southerly again. It's supposed to be switching to an easterly, so I'm expecting that. I haven't checked the weather, so it could have changed the weather. Mustn't lose them 2 water bowls. Oh, I got to pick a dog dropping bag up. That was the other thing I came down for. So I'm sorry if these videos we're not doing that much the last day and a bit. And I would have loved to have videoed me going through all that boggy area over there, but I was in no mood, trust me. I was getting blisters on my hand. I didn't come out to get blisters. You couldn't push it through that. The plan, as I say, was to cross the river hoping it would be low and everything had died down, but that didn't work out. And coming across the bridge, it was covered in like a mould or moss. Some of the rails are broken, so you grab them and they're loose. The top ones I'm on about, so I'm meant to go over there and try and fix them. I might do that tomorrow. It's not my job, but I mean, you're trying to prevent people, you're here. If I know about it, why can't I do something about it? If I can, use a stone, big stone, use it as a hammer, and there's nails in there. It's just they've been pulled out. It looks like someone's grabbed them and it's pulled the rail. So yeah, I got over the bridge yesterday, got all the kit, did relays from about over there to over there. I don't know if you're seeing. Good distance through marsh. Meanwhile, the cows were near the fence watching us and kept getting closer. Got all the kit over there. Thought, thank God for that. I didn't have to go. I turned my back and there's a fell runner coming over the corner, over the top. And the dogs, them two, reared up and started getting a bit vocal to kind of, who are you, like, not expecting anyone out here. So I grabbed out, told them off, grabbed them out. They were doing the job, so I can't complain. It's just I don't want them attacking anyone, do I? And held the dogs and said sorry. I apologised to the guy. I said sorry, I didn't expect someone to come running over there at this time and after it. But anyway, he was fine. He said no problem. Dogs never bothered him. They didn't get close to him or anything like that. But then I warned him about the cows. But luckily he went by and he went over that rail, and the cows were just short of that rail and they didn't go to him, thank God. They're only young, but what's he doing? See what I mean? He needs to work. He's now searching for something. And look at him. He's tracking something. What's he tracking? Look at him go. Rebel! What's he found? Oh, come back. He was tracking something then. Probably deer, the way he was moving. Something probably went through during the night and he's picked the track up. Good boy, but don't go too far because you could only go miles. But again, if there was something like, I hate to say it, like a body or, you know, remains or something like that, he would go up to it and, I mean, sadly, I haven't trained him how to let go of a bone. That's a big issue. But he would go up there and take a lot of interest in it. You know what I mean? And then I'd follow him up, and then I'd call him away because, you know what I mean? I don't want him to start walk off with some bone in his mouth. But I mean, that's a dog for you, isn't it? The things you can't train for. Well, I can't train for that. I ain't got the resources, you know. I ain't got the backup of police training, you know, giving me free training or anything like that, so I can get some training in with them. But I have to play it by ear. Rebel! Now, oh God, how that sorted itself out, don't I? But I'd like her to start picking up on that. But again, she was good. Did you notice? She is the protector. He's the one that'll follow me everywhere. She is the protector. Did you notice how she heard something and knew something was coming? I couldn't see Stella's coat and she was walking around the back there. But she went up to greet Rebel, didn't even take no interest. A lot, they're being loving to each other. They're nothing like that at home. Anyway, yeah, going back to my original point. Sorry if if these videos are not entertaining enough, but we're not doing much at the moment. We're learning about kit, what works, what don't. It's a long lesson, a long learning curve. You know what I mean? When I've been intense all my life, so the more practice I get, the better I do it. So I'm using that time while Stella's at her age to get out and pitching. This first one, I wanted to learn the basics, you know what I mean? And then I can fine tune everything over the next trips. But this will be the last time, as I say, I keep saying it, but this will be the last time. I've searched everywhere. I honestly have searched everywhere. I've even gone, not right to the back of the woods up there, but I mean, I've covered all the way along the woods and cut in. You know, I've done all that plantation nearly. I mean, the only bit I haven't done is around the farm, and I didn't want to do that because that's you know, I don't want to bother anyone. I've even been up the back of these valleys, you know, and come over the this one here. We were on, you know, just short of that summit on that ridge line. I don't know if you can make it out. Sorry, my hand was in. Just below where that snow stops is the ridge line, and that's where we were. Looking down at video. I haven't covered that area behind the trees, but I would class all that the higher areas, you know what I mean, because we're moving up now. So that was something I was going to do with my friend. It's a hell of a lot of high areas to go. I mean, can you honestly say to me that a guy 72 years of age, not well, had problems walking in, so the story says, and that was 4 miles, by the way, and he's gone up there with no hiking poles, no gear, no waterproofs, nothing, no torch, no food, no phone. I mean, he doesn't use his phone much, but no phone, no warm clothing. Doesn't matter if it's summer or night, it gets cold up there, trust me. So I've even been up Stobgubber most of the way and cut off on the slopes over the, just messing about when we were going up there sometimes from the hut, just in case things had changed and he doubled back and decided to go on exploring something. I don't know, you know. Me personally, I there's something seriously wrong with this case, you know, and I don't want to go into it, as I know a lot more, as I say, but there's something wrong. You know, all right, someone could be 10 feet from us and we could have missed him. Yeah, that's true. But rescue teams, helicopters, other volunteer searchers, police searching separate times, you know what I mean? Mountain rescue have probably been up here and searched separate times for training, or just to, you know, maybe in their spare time come up. I've been through these woods, I've been everywhere. I've been even walked down this river, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I don't get the feelings here, anywhere here, but I could easily be wrong. I've even been up there, you know, the back end up, there's a massive waterfall at the top there which comes like that, sheer wall, steep and high. Yeah, wind's behind us, yeah, same time of the day, coming straight through them woods. So yeah, Rebel, leave it. Probably even deer poo, leave it. What do I think? I don't know. He could have walked out of this place on his own 2 feet. I personally think, going back to this Neil Skinner case there, I personally think that the Isle of Skye trip, where if you don't know the story and you just cottoned on to this video, this person that went missing here in May 2022 The year previously, he'd been with the same two friends that he was here when he went missing. They went to Isle of Skye, and Neil, the missing person, went missing there for 5 hours. Did the same more or less situation where he just said he wanted to do one thing, did it totally opposite. And thankfully, the friends raised the alarm and mountain rescue out, and they found him coming down from the high ground. But I don't know what he had. I don't know much information. No one's ever, told anything about that. I think them two are linked. In a sense, when I mean explaining why I mean them two are linked is, he did something intentional that day to shake off his friends, to get away. And was he trying to get down off the mountain before anyone found him to disappear? Or was it some strange characteristic he was doing? I mean, why? Before that, the year before that, it was COVID, so he hadn't been out. He was not a Munro, he's not a hiker, he's not a experienced trekker. Again, the photo where it shows him with a red coat and a backpack gives you this image. That here is an outdoorsy person that's always hiking and getting in the mountains. It's far from the truth. The photo was taken in his 60s. He could have been hiking wild camping in the Peak District at the time. This guy was 72 years of age. The photos in that video and the posters and all that have been plastered all over the press. He was much younger, fresher looking. When he went missing, he was 72. He was frail. He looked like a totally different guy. Looked worn. And that's not being disrespectful. I will look the same in years to come. So anyone up there says, oh, the witness saw him on the track. How can you see someone on the track when the photo doesn't look anything like the person? I'll give you a typical idea, right? Nothing to do with this one. I've got photos of me 10 years younger. Now I've got a bit of a beard. I've also probably lost a bit of weight. So if I put posters out, if I went missing of 10 years, someone put them out of 10 years ago, of this clean shaven bloke, more podgier, you know what I mean? And then someone says, oh yeah, I saw him, but because they bumped into me with a beard. How would, you get that in all missing cases. People all see someone and it's sometimes mistaken identity. The other thing that's always bugged me, I'm sorry to go on, but I'm being honest, we talk about the facts, let's speak about the facts. He was supposed, before his two friends left him, he was supposed to have swapped his red coat, get it, for the female friend's green coat. Now the female friend is half the size of him. So the witness said, after he'd gone missing, said, yeah, I saw him in a green coat. Well, how can he be in a green coat? He can't even get in the woman's coat. Do you get what I mean? It's like me swapping my jacket to a young lady, 5'4", very skinny, you know what I mean? Yeah, she can get my coat, she can wear my coat, but if she gives me her coat, how am I going to put it on? It doesn't make sense, does it? It's talking the facts. The facts don't make sense. The two friends are supposed to have camped here on the Saturday morning when he went, the day before he went missing, and then left him at the loch for 6 days, not knowing what this 72-year-old is going to do. That went missing a year before. As long as he's got food, it doesn't matter. 6 days up there. You know what I mean? But they turned around after one day of rain. These are supposed to be hardcore hikers. Because it rained heavily one day, they turned around. How did they know what the next days were going to do? And then when they get there, he's not there. That's one report. But then you go on Web Sleuths, which I did, which is a forum on online forum. It deals with all missing cases all over the world. And one member of his family, which I believe was his other daughter, it's been verified. Now, I checked about the verification of Web Sleuths, and Web Sleuths, to get verified, you have to say, it's not, you check on the page about verification and say, give you a telephone number and I'll get back to you. And they'll check out, who you are. But it's not like that. They've changed the details. They've just not changed the page. I got in contact with them. I left my phone number. They sent me an email saying, we need photo ID. We need proof who you're working with, why you connect to the case. They need so much ID and proof and to verify. And they said it could take months. They didn't say it'd take a couple of days or weeks. They said it can take a considerable amount of time to get you verified. They check into it. So this person that was verified family member, which I believe was the other daughter, stated on that web sleuth, there was no camp up there on that Saturday. They all, Neil stopped at the lock because he didn't feel right, and the other two cleared off and left him. Good reason or bad, it doesn't matter. Let's get the facts right. They left him. You know what I mean? He stayed at the lock. Again, it's not criticise the two friends, because he could have shook them off. He could have said, look, I've twisted my ankle, I don't feel right, or whatever. He could have said anything. He could have shook them off. That's why I say, are these two, the Isle guy where he shook them off, and this one linked? If so, he could have easily walked down his track and walked straight out and disappeared. And I'm keeping an eye on a case in the Cairngorms, a young guy called Mark Drossel. I believe he's 28. His family are concerned for him. He's missing, but not missing, if you get what I mean. He seems to have gone up to Aviemore, followed a trail going through some of the parts of that area, and it's gone intentionally missing. And it's maybe, we could say mental health issues or problems or whatever it is. It's not going to that, but get off me, silly girl. Ran straight into my knee. We don't know the reasons why people do what they do. And that's what I'm trying to say. There's all kinds of problems, maybe home problems, maybe financial problems. It could be anything. People do things for whatever reason, you know what I mean? And sometimes they don't want to be found. And we have to kind of not respect it. Obviously, the family are going to be worried. But sometimes we've got to accept that this person could have done this, and be a bit realistic in that terms. Sometimes there was a cluster of cases in 2022, including Neil's. There was a guy up in Roskingham in the Cairngorms Blair Fire area. Sadly, his body was found. There was a guy Aviemore. I can't remember his name, but you look into it in 2022. There was a guy in Aviemore. He disappeared in the middle of the night. It's snow, and there's the guy up near Leg that is a YouTuber. I forget the name. I had all the names. You get so many names, it gets to the point you start forgetting, And he's supposed to have swam across a loch to do something, but then you look into his background. He has had problems with mental health and suicide attempts and all that. You know what I mean? I'm not making it up. He stated online that when this guy in near Leg, that when he was feeling dark because he didn't think he'd be a musician, he was close to jumping off a bridge and killing himself. So, he stated that online, out loud. So I'm not making things out. I'm not painting anyone on anything. I'm just being, realistic. And as I say, this cluster was in 2022, and the reason why the cluster was 2022 is because COVID was 2020 and 2021 with the lockdowns, and it affected people, and we still don't know. We still don't know how COVID has affected people, because some of these people were trapped alone. I was trapped by myself as such, but I loved it. I loved the, isolation. It sounds awful, but I enjoyed COVID because people had to stay away. The only thing I didn't like is I couldn't travel, you know what I mean? And when we did that tier system, when we were allowed to travel sometimes and not, that was when I was grabbing my opportunities and going places like Fishfield and all that. So why was there a cluster in 2022 just after COVID, but we're not getting the clusters now? The weather conditions are probably worse now than them years, you know what I mean? The weather's been changing for the worse over the last 3 years. I've noticed that. So you'd think there'd be more missing people, wouldn't you, due to weather situations? So it's got to be related to COVID and how it's affected people's mental health. And that is going back to my original point. Neil could have easily just walked out of it. And, you know, it's go to another aspect of the Neil Skinner case. He stopped at a lot with his friends. They decided to carry on the next day on the Saturday, sorry. And they handed him a spare car key. How many of you carry your original spare car? How many of you carry your car key and then carry a spare car key on you, just in case your friend wants to go ill or go back? You'd only carry that if it was pre-arranged. You say, Neil, we'll bring our spare car key, because if you don't feel right, then you can always go back to the car and, you know, wait in the car or whatever. Or maybe there was other things they sorted out. You know what I mean? Ring your family or something, and someone come up to you and wait in the car. So that had to be pre-planned. And they handed over the spare car key at the lock. So if they handed the spare car key to Neil at the lock, they were pre-planning. So something must have been said a long time before they set off. Neil might have said, oh, I wasn't feeling well. And again, if he said something like that, I wasn't feeling on top of the world, but he came, it could be a way of shaking them off. You know, we've got to be realistic here. He could have done the very thing that we're not thinking he's done. He kind of playing it all the way up there, waited till he got rid of them, and then he's gone. And people do this, even at their age. People do this. They decide for whatever reason. So I'm sorry if this has been a long part, but you know, it's been a long case. And I've spent nearly 2 years and I've been out, and I don't regret any minutes of it. I've enjoyed every bit of being out here. You know, it's just for the sad circumstances, but it's given me experience. It's learnt me a lot, and it's learnt me how to approach these missing cases and not kind of, if you read the press and listen to even family members, they'll tell you anything, and you know, it's not always that true. So it's not a rant, it's just realism. We got to be a bit more realistic and approach things with a wider angle. You know, someone goes missing, yes, they could be injured, yes, they could have had an accident, yes, they could sadly have been passed away. Get out of that water, you'll get wet, and then you'll be cold. In, up here. You play in that water and then he stops. There's water at the tent. So yeah, you know, but there's always an alternative. They might not have had an accident, might not have died. We've got to look at it all angles, and the resources been put in to look for Neil have been immense. You know, dogs, helicopters, police, mountain rescue, volunteers, myself coming out here for the last year and a half. God knows how many other people have probably done exactly the same as me. And on top of that, you add in that some family members are not keen with you going out searching. They don't want these videos coming out. I don't know if they don't want the videos highlighting any of the differences in the facts, as they like to put it, or the story. I don't know if they just don't want the story raised at all, and they want it to calm down. Me and my friend Derek, he was ex-police as well, and he dealt with missing cases, and he talked to other police officers that are serving, and everyone was saying the same thing. There's so many inconsistencies, and you know, it's just not right. It don't feel right. It's not a case of a hiker going out and kind of getting lost. You know, this is more to it. So that's the facts, and that's the reason why I'm drawing it in there. I've put a lot of effort in. Dogs have done their bit. Even Stella's been out. We've been out in the rain, we've been out in the snow, we've been out in the hot weather. It was 29 degrees in last September when we were going out them valleys, and you know, we've done what we can. Sometimes you've got to just say enough's enough. So that's what I've done. So I'll put this segment in a separate video, otherwise it'll be just so long for anyone to watch. So anyone interested in the actual search for Neil Skinner, I know a little bit more, and it's my personal views. It's my personal, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not criticising anyone. Mountain Rescue have been brilliant, police have been brilliant. The volunteers, including Dave, Mike, and some of the people I met on that hike for Neil were brilliant. I mean, one or two of them went well, but hey, get off that. Didn't have that much experience, so hats off to them for helping, and they did a really grand job. Get here, in here. Don't want you getting wet. Up. So I'm not criticising anyone, not condemning. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I'm just being realistic. And that wind is picking up and it's coming. And it's about, see how it gets strong? That's about what it was doing yesterday. About similar time. Right, we're going back camp. Daddy said his piece. But it was the time to say it. God, something blew in my eye. I know a lot more than I'm letting on, but I can't discuss it for obvious reasons. So you'll have to trust me. You know what I mean? If you don't trust me, that's fair. Good luck to you. You know what I mean? I'm not out here to gain anything. I'm out here to help people. I'm using my time, my money, my energy, my dogs. Everything is mine, free, not asking for a penny. So, you know what I mean? I have a right to be honest, don't I?